You're listening to Life Inspirations. The Scourge of Loneliness. You know, over the years of pastoring and being involved in people's lives, it would have to be the number one thing that keeps popping up. Many people suffer from loneliness. And it doesn't seem to matter that a person's in an environment where it's crowded and loads of people are there. Mother Teresa once said, "The biggest disease today is not leprosy or tuberculosis, but rather the feeling of being unwanted, uncared for, and deserted by everybody. Loneliness and the feeling of being unwanted is the most terrible poverty." A leading UK retail chain commissioned a survey by a team of psychologists into their key customer demographic, millennials, those born between 1981 and the early 2000s, and also known as Generation Y. They interviewed 800 people. The results were so startling that they did not believe them. They interviewed another 800 and got the same results. The results portrayed an alarming picture of an increasingly lonely and lost generation. More people live alone than at any other point in our recorded social history. On average, millennials spend 6.5 hours a day on social media. Many who were interviewed considered work to be something they fitted in between social media and lunch. They found people had a very large number of friends, but an increasing sense of loneliness. A more recent study revealed 73% of Generation Z feel alone, now making them the loneliest generation. And it's been said that we've become a culture more focused on strengthening our Wi-Fi connections than strengthening our personal connections. Now, there's nothing wrong, of course, with social media. I use it. Many people use it. But it's not a substitute for real face-to-face friendships. We were created for friendship. We're created for friendship with God and other people. God also created this thing called marriage. It's a crucial part of the solution to loneliness. But then Jesus set an example of close friendship with men and women. He wasn't married. He demonstrated that marriage is not the only solution to loneliness. In one respect, friendship is even more important than marriage. Marriage is for this life only. Friendship is eternal. It multiplies joy and divides sorrow. We see in the Bible, which is very realistic, examples of relationships at their very best. But we also see examples of their frailty and failure. So when we get knocked around by the failure of relationships, the tendency can be to withdraw, to become a hermit, to not go there again. But that saying is so real, no man is an island. We need each other. Paul said to the Romans, we don't live for ourselves. He also said to the Philippians in Philippians 2:4, don't look out only for your own interests, but take an interest in others too. So the first key to loneliness, to dealing with loneliness, is to look outward to others more than you would look inward to yourself. This is why people get into things like soup kitchens or charities that give out to other people constantly, because it does something to a person. It brings healing to that terrible ache of loneliness. There really is something therapeutic in putting other people before yourself and giving out and helping other people. In Galatians, Paul says, bear one another's burdens. And so to open yourself to help other people in significant ways requires this thing called risk. We can risk getting hurt, and for some people, or many people, we can risk getting hurt again. And so we give out to others. But secondly, we develop friendships. We have interactions with other people by taking an interest in what they do, as well as sharing your own interests with them. Possibly your stories about your work, your family, your relationships, and day-to-day life. It's called sharing life. Talk about your experiences in detail. There may even be a new hobby that you'll enjoy doing together. Of course, at times you may need to find the balance between having time alone and time with other people. Everyone's different in that way. Some people can't exist very well without other people. Some people enjoy solitude. But the bottom line is that we need other people. And thirdly, we need to keep the interactions frequent. When it comes to maintaining friendships, stay in touch. Make it a habit. It's easier to form a habit than letting things drift. Of course, in life, there are levels of friendship. There are acquaintances. There's people who are related to you. There's workmates. There's all sorts of people in organizations that you relate to in church life. But there are some people who you want to be close to you, close friends, and it's mutual. They want the same thing as well. So you go out of your way to strengthen your relationship with them. Don't isolate yourself. Don't push them away. They are valuable friendships. And it's really good to deal with friendship conflicts. It's really worth the temporary pain that you may have to go through. So you may have to bite the bullet and sit down with those people and clear up any misunderstandings. And it's best to do that face to face, not over the phone or an email. It's amazing when we're lonely. Through loneliness, we can exaggerate things that people meant to say or didn't say. And so talking to them, especially close friends, is really the best way to go. Do it with humility. Do it with I language rather than you. Jesus said in Matthew 5:9 in the Message version, "You're blessed when you can show people how to cooperate instead of compete or fight." That's when you discover who you really are and your place in God's family. And speaking of family, there's a great verse in Psalms where it says, God sets the solitary, the lonely, in families. So a good thing to do is to pray for friends, pray for families, pray for your children, pray for community, much like a church community. Get involved in a church if you haven't already. And part of being a friend is accepting the other person as they are. Remember, your friend isn't a stone. They'll change. So they're human beings with a dynamic personality. They can change their opinions, change their habits, or have their moods change. And we can't expect people who we want to be friends with to be predictable. Good friends allow each other to flourish rather than to shut them down or try and put them in some sort of a straitjacket. Now, you may not be used to being open or transparent with people, depending on your background and your personality, but I would suggest that you start to open your heart, open yourself, be open to others as much as you can. And remember, there's a fine line between being honest with people and being critical. So go easy on your criticisms. There is constructive and destructive criticisms. Always opt for the constructive ones. Be a trustworthy friend. Keep secrets that they tell you as much as you can and share your heart to them. When you do this, it increases this thing called trust. Paul talked to the Ephesians in chapter 4 verse 15, and he encourages people to speak the truth in love, which is a foundation for building trust in relationships. It's a big thing, this thing called trust. It pulls people together and creates closeness and enjoy the friendship. The best thing you can do is just have fun. Laughter really is a good medicine. You see, your friends are your sources of inspiration, celebration, and your companion through good and bad times. Having friends will have a good impact on your life, by the way, both physically and mentally. Make sure you have fun with the idea of friendship. And here's a great proverb, chapter 17, verse 17. A friend is always loyal, and a brother is born to help in a time of need. In the Message it says, friends love through all kinds of weather, and families stick together in all kinds of trouble. God bless you richly.